Part 2 now on course. President Bola Tinubu says that the federal government will open a new chapter in public transportation through the deployment of cheaper, safer, compressed natural gas CNG buses across the country. The president, in his Independence Day broadcast, said the buses would operate at a fraction of current fuel prices, which will positively affect transport fares. New CNG conversion kits are expected to come in soon, and all hands are on deck to fast-track the usually lengthy procurement process. The president said training facilities and workshops will be set up across the country to train and provide new opportunities for transport operators and entrepreneurs. Compressed natural gas, also known as CNG, is simply natural gas mainly comprised of methane that is stored under high pressures, mainly as a means to transport it, or as storage for later use as vehicle fuel. With a shift in focus to CNG as an alternative to the rising cost of fuel, what should the government be doing now to achieve this idea? And how should Nigerians also be preparing for this switch? We have in the studio an expert in that field. Brian Amonu is the Managing Director, Gas Analytics and Solutions. Brian, thank you for coming to Newsnight.
Thanks, Tolu, for having me. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day to you. Thank you for coming. CNG looks like a breakthrough.
Right.
When you look at the challenges posed by the rising cost of fuel now. But then it's not a new idea. So why are we still having a debate around it?
Well, you know, yes, it's not a new idea, but significant effort needs to be made in terms of creating awareness to increase the adoption of CNG, which is, like you mentioned earlier, is compressed natural gas. And natural gas is the most difficult hydrocarbon to store, to transport. And as such, the business model required to increase the utilization of natural gas as a source of fuel is no laughing matter. It's a serious, serious business to do. So I'm happy that the president and the federal government is making meaningful strides in offering CNG as a solution to the masses, as opposed to supporting maybe new refineries or even returning to fuel subsidies. So CNG is a much more sustainable alternative fuel for Nigeria, given the abundance of natural gas.
Well, amazing. That sounds very reassuring, Brian. Yet again, some are already exercising the fear that petroleum marketers may begin to frustrate this effort. What are your recommendations?
Very good question, Tolu. As a matter of fact, our company is working with the independent petroleum marketers to increase the utilization of natural gas. As you're aware, IPMAN and its members have between 30 to 50,000 filling stations across the country.
Right.
Most IPMAN station owners, Tolu, cannot afford today the cost of buying a tanker of petrol. It has gone up from 7 million to 25 million. And even when they buy that tanker of petrol, people are not buying petrol in the volumes that they were used to selling in the past. So a lot of them have closed shop. A lot of them are thinking about closing their filling stations, which could potentially put hundreds of thousands of Nigerians out of work. So for them to survive, they are working with us to switch their existing stations to CNG to be able to not only offer Nigerians a cheaper fuel, but also survive this climate of high cost of petrol.
I needed to also enlighten the viewer, more about the use of CNG vis-a-vis petrol, because some don't even know that you can use the two, not concurrently really, but then you can have the two in your car at the same time.
Sure, yeah. So most vehicles, small vehicles that run on CNG are biofuel CNG, which means you have a tank of natural gas in your boot, usually, or for the keke under the seat. And then you would also have petrol in your vehicle, and should you decide to switch to petrol or gas for any reason, all it takes is just a push of a button to transition from one fuel to the other.
Right.
So it's a mature technology. It's been in Nigeria since 2007 in Edo State, and most of Dangote trucks run on CNG and diesel.
Why Edo State? Why did it start from Edo State?
Because NIPCO, I don't know why NIPCO decided to start. They own the most number of CNG stations than around 11 or 14 CNG stations in Edo State. I don't know why they chose Edo State, but Edo State today has the highest number of CNG stations in the country.
Are you also working with the federal government on this project, or do you plan to do so?
We hope the federal government will consider partnering with the private sector to have the desired impact of national CNG rollout. So IPMAN and ourselves have made efforts to reach out to the federal government, and we hope they will consider partnering with IPMAN for the obvious reasons I mentioned here. IPMAN has a platform and a presence in every local government area in this country. Most of their members are closing down their filling stations due to very low patronage and lack of access to afford a higher cost of petroleum tankers. So we hope the federal government will embrace IPMAN to achieve the desired impact, which is to have CNG available in every nook and cranny of the country.
Brian,
Yes.
how many things are we going to sit back and hope the federal government would do? You know, we cannot just keep helping. Are you planning to approach the federal government with a proposal as a private entity on how to partner with the federal government?
Yes, we're doing that, but we're also working with the African Development Bank to provide, and the Infrastructure Bank of Nigeria to provide access to loans to IPMAN members to transition their stations to CNG, to provide access to vehicle owners, keke owners, transporters, state governments to afford the cost of conversion. And we're working with the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission to identify short-term, medium-term, and long-term gas supply. So across the value chain, we're doing what we can in our own private capacity to roll out CNG across the country, while hoping that government would invite us to sit on the table and make our own contributions to ensuring that Nigerians enjoy this bountiful energy fuel called CNG.
They're hoping again. That's, we need hope, right? Thank you very much indeed, Brian Amonu, Managing Director, Gas Analytics and Solutions. Thank you for coming to Newsnight.
My pleasure.